Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Mr. Jet. Welcome back for another Aloud. And today we've got a Ukrainian folktale called The Mitten. And with that, let's get into our learning objectives. As usual, we have our 3 vocabulary terms. Then we're going to read our story, answer our questions, and then at the end we're going to reflect. So let's jump into our vocabulary terms today. Our first term is commotion. This is spelled C-O-M-M-O-T-I-O-N. This is a noun, and this is a state of confused and noisy disturbance. Our next vocabulary term today is glinty. This is spelled G-L-I-N-T-Y. This is an adjective, and this is to describe something as sparkly or shiny. And finally, our last term today is drowsy, and this is spelled D-R-O-W-S-Y. This is an adjective, and this is to feel sleepy or tired. Here are your terms as well as your definitions. And with that concluding, let's go ahead and let's start the mitten. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted white mittens, and finally Baba made them. Why do you think Nicky wants these white mittens so bad? And of all the colors that he could choose from, especially in this little basket here, he wants white. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow-white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and it was left behind. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. I don't know if you can tell, but the mole's right here, and he just got inside Nicky's little mitten. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them. But when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being one to argue with someone who's covered with prickles, they made room. I wouldn't mess with a hedgehog either. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in, also the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But they saw the owl's glinty talons. They quickly let him in. Do you think the owl means to hurt any of the animals that are already in the mitten? Or is he just trying to find a warm place to stay for a little bit? Let's keep reading, going along. Oh, I forgot to show you. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. So why do you think so many animals are attracted to this mitten? Although it is a very warm place, it seems kind of impractical since, there's not going to be much room left soon. A great big bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten, all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal could argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to two times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Even a bear can fit inside this mitten. Baba can really knit. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wrinkled in this one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw the white shape in the distance, and it was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. So all this time, Nicky didn't even know that he had lost it till he saw it in the sky. As he ran to catch it, his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. And here's the end. And with this being the end, we can see that Baba has noticed that the mitten has grown almost 4 times the size of the original. Do you think Baba suspects maybe that there was something going on, that maybe Nicky had lost it and something has happened to it maybe, and that's why it's so big? Or maybe Nicky was playing with it? I'll leave that up to you to decide. But with that, have a great evening, or whatever what's going on, and I'll see you all next time for our next read aloud, alright?